Shalom. This week's Sedra is Sedra Matos. A nation's value comes from the kindness of its citizens. A nation's strength comes from the power of its military. Truly strong nations never have to go to war. The strength of their military deters an enemy attack. A military's power comes from its weapons and the number of its soldiers. A nation that hopes to deter enemy attack will build up a large army. The war the Jewish people fight against Midian that we read about in this week's Torah Sedra is strange for two reasons. First, the Jewish people don't wipe the Midianite people out. The second, the Jewish army was made up of a relatively small force, not one that would inspire fear, guarantee an easy victory, or deter attack. So why did Moshe have such a small army with such a limited mission? Hashem spoke to Moshe and he said, "Take revenge for the children of Israel against the Midianites. Afterwards you will be gathered to your people." Moshe spoke to the people saying, "Arm from among your men for the army, that they can fight against Midian and carry out the revenge against Midian. 1,000 men from each tribe, 1,000 from each tribe, from all the tribes of Israel you shall send into the army." From the thousands of the Israelites, 1,000 was given over from each tribe, 12,000 armed for battle. Moshe sent them 1,000 from each tribe to the army, then along with Pinchas, the son of Eleazar, the Kohen, to the army with the sacred utensils and the trumpets for sounding in his possession. In his commentary to Hashem's command of Moshe to send the army, the Ramban taught a powerful message. Ramban taught that Moshe did not send all the members of the army there, although the Midianites were a large people and their cities were fortified and very large. The reason why Moshe didn't send his entire army is that those who had sinned with the Moabite women were many, a lot of the Jews, and they were not fit to execute the vengeance of God. Therefore, Moshe chose those men that were known only as righteous men. The Ramban offered a second explanation as to why Moshe only sent a small amount of soldiers. He wrote that it's also possible to explain that Moshe was only commanded to harass the Midianites and to avenge the children of Israel of the Midianites, but was not commanded to destroy them all like he was Amalek and the seven nations. Moshe only sent a small contingent of 12,000 men to strike at the unwalled towers and the cities and the fountains of water, mar every good piece of land with stones, as spoilers usually do, and he did not give them any specific commands except that they should execute whatever vengeance they were able to, and that Hashem, who controls the course of all battles, gave the Midianites and their 5 kings and the cities into their hands. The strategy of amassing large and strong armies is based on the assumption, usually correct, that victory in battle will be determined by the prowess of the army. While this is true of armies around the world, it isn't true of the Jewish army. The Jewish army's success is based on their connection to God. When they have faith in God and fulfill God's commands, they will be successful. In the war featured in this week's Torah portion, Moshe didn't need to send a large army, and even chose soldiers based on their righteousness and not on their military ability. Moshe knew that as long as the soldiers were people who had faith in God and followed God's commands, they'd be successful. It's a lesson for the Jews for eternity. Shabbat Shalom.